Bob Carley was as well-liked a student athlete as could be found on the Alfred University campus in the mid-'80s and perhaps ever. Friendly and likable off the gridiron, Bob was as fierce a competitor as there was on the field. Manning the middle linebacker position on a stingy defense that allowed less than 90 yards rushing per game, Carley was a tackling machine for the Saxons, racking up 308 in his career, which is still 6th on the school's all-time list. As a senior in 1986, he had 122 tackles, which at the time was the 3rd most in a season in AU history. Carley died tragically in 1988 at the age of 23, the victim of a heart attack suffered while participating in a platoon run as a U.S. Army private. The Saxon football team honors his legendary work ethic and competitiveness every year by handing out the Bob Carley Memorial Award after each season. And for those guys that are here tonight, when you hear a little bit more about Bob Carley, this award is going to mean a little bit more to you and everyone that follows in your footsteps. I want to read a statement from John Dagan, who's a member of our Hall of Fame committee. And John played basketball here at AU during the time that Bob was on the football team and became a very close friend. And when we were discussing our candidates this year, John spoke so passionately about Bob that I said, you're not going to be here, but I'm going to make you write down some of the things that you told me about Bob Carley. And John said, it is fitting that an athlete as great as Bob is going to be recognized in the AU Hall of Fame. As anyone who followed Alfred University football in the mid-'80s can attest, Bob is one of the greatest linebackers in the history of the school. Despite his accomplishments on the football field, I guarantee you that if you asked anyone who knew Bob personally to tell you what comes to mind when they think of him, not one person would mention the word football. The words that you would hear over and over again are friendly, kind, sweet, humble, caring, and the word that I think fits him to a T, pure. That is what Bob was all about. Just a guy with a big smile and a personality that made those around him feel good. In a nutshell, the legacy of Bob Carley is that he was as wonderful a human being as you could ever meet, and he happened to be one hell of a football player too. I am proud to have been able to call him a friend. Pete Carley, congratulations on behalf of the Hall.
Thank you. I first got a call from Kevin Zimmer, and he said that Bob was nominated for the Hall of Fame by Mark Shardlow, Bob's linebacker coach. He said we wouldn't find out for a little while, but it was very exciting just to have Bob nominated. A couple months had passed, and I was in the Denver airport waiting for a flight to go home, and the phone rang. And it was Kevin again, and he stated that Bob was inducted. What a great way to start the weekend. I need to thank Alfred University, Paul Vecchio. Thank you for the phone calls and just all the information that our family would need. Mark Shardlow, Bob's linebacker coach, Jim Moretti, Bob's coach, and Chuck Christ, and all the people that sent supporting letters in for Bob. When talking with Paul, which he just stated, I learned that the majority of the supporting letters talked about Bob as a person, more so than his ability on the field. Bob was a likable guy, and it was easy to be around him. He had good morals, a big heart, and Paul, thanks again for mentioning that just now. I guess I need to start from the beginning, and my iPad just freaked out. Okay. Starting from the beginning with my family and how that developed Bob and how he conducted himself. My dad had one rule: respect your mother and adults in general. My mom also had one rule: never lie, and to just be yourself. Bob made sure this was installed in me as I was the youngest, and as youth, you have your blind spots and your stupidity. Didn't hesitate to correct that in a heartbeat. With that heavy hand. My mom always said that you become who you hang around, so I need to say thank you for myself and Bob to a few people that made my mom's point. Bob Breckenridge, Chris Breckenridge, Rick Mazacchio, and several of the other people of Bob's life on and off the field. Dave Higgs, not only were you a close friend of Bob, but you made up a trio with Bob Breckenridge that endured until Bob's untimely death. I also need to say thank you both for that time also with my family. When Bob went to college, he met a lot of people, and one of them was Kevin Zimmer. And a solid friendship ensued. My parents and family always enjoyed when Bob's friends came to the house to visit. You could see and feel the respect from both sides, and humor was always in the room as well. Seeing Bob told my parents what the plan was for that night, which could be interesting, especially in a small town. After explaining what was going on, someone else walked into the room. It was Rick Mazacchio. My father was sitting on the couch watching, I'm sure, Love Boat or Fantasy Island, as it was a Saturday night. And they ran right back to back. Again, a small town. Sat down, put his arm around my father, and nothing was said except the looks that were given. If you knew the size of my father, and I'm sure everyone knows the size of Rick, the looks were priceless. This was the same for when Bob went to his friends' homes. The mutual respect and admiration for his friends, parents, and adults in general was just always at a high standard. Bob's work ethic started with my father, who reminded us once in a while that whenever you are asked to do something, you do it to the best of your ability, and you just simply work hard. This was the case whether it be in the backyard splitting wood, which was a very tedious chore, or on the farm unloading hay, or on the football field, always go at it hard. This was also passed down to me, and I'm grateful for it daily. Football, the greatest contact sport there is. From the back of J.D. George Elementary with the Verona Vikings, whose crowd sometimes rivaled the high school games, to the VBS Red Devils, to doing sprints on the side yard against his sister Dee Dee prior to triple sessions, to the Alfred Saxons, there was one constant that never changed. There was one person who was completely at home stepping onto that grass. Bob was completely free of all issues of life. Once his cleats touched the grass, Bob knew his position and knew it well, and the team played as a solid unit. God help you if you cross that line of scrimmage. Bob had a true football savvy. Either in practice or game time, it didn't matter. If he was on the field, it was time. If he was on the side field at home and going against his extremely skinny brother, it didn't matter either. That's true. He was truly at home on the field. Many people have great talent and can play the game well. There are a few people that can honestly say that they are 100% at home when they're out there. The '86 season was a complete combination of multiple people who dominated at their positions, as well as excellent coaching. There was another term thrown around the league that can be summed up as 3 words: the Bermuda Triangle. Knapp, Carly, and Mazacchio three individuals known throughout the division, as well as the team as a whole. That year, Alfred went on to win the ECAC championship. Proud moment for Bob, but he never talked much about it. Or when he won the All-American Award, that was quiet also, except for his friends that talked about Bob winning it. Said it was a great day, and he was very proud, bringing it back to the house. There's a picture of Bob in one of the programs. It's pretty cool to see that. He had just made an interception, started running it back. The expression on his face, that is the look of football. There's another picture on that same program, right on the cover, of Rick Mazzacchio and Bob, with Coach Moretti in the middle. It was after the game, and proud look on all three faces. But Bob had a big smile, big grin. That's the look of a good man. I'm sure there's several people that I need to say thank you to, and it was great seeing a lot of faces today. But again, thank you all for University, Jim Moretti, Mark Shardlow, Paul Vecchio, and Alfred University. Thank you all again.